Thank you all for being here today. It's my pleasure to share these 2 hours with you. It is my first time with Teams, so hopefully we won't get any problem with that, but I trust on Noelia and Rasa to help me just in case. So, yeah, my name is Loren Moreno Monteagudo, Loren for you, and I work for the University of Alicante. I work for the Technology Transfer Office in the field of spin-offs. So basically, I do different things in order to launch companies that exploit the research carried out by our researchers. We have a lot of time ahead. We have 2 hours. You don't want me to be talking for 2 hours, so I want to make it interactive. So please, should you have any question or any comments while I'm talking, feel free to interrupt and open your micro or ask for your word, and I will be more than happy to try to answer back. Okay, so we're going to have some discussion groups so we can share opinions and thoughts, because my talk today is about my own experience at the University of Alicante. So I will be glad to know about you also, about your experience and about the way you do things at home. Okay, so what I'm talking today is about launching knowledge-based companies, what we call spin-offs, spin-outs. And as I said before, I'm going to talk about our experience and the case of the University of Alicante. I think it's important, well, this is going to be the layout of the presentation. So as I said before, I would like to have some interaction with you. But I think the first thing to do would be to introduce the University of Alicante just a little bit, because the things and the actions and the type of projects we have depends on the kind of university or the kind of institution we work for. So to start with, the University of Alicante was founded in 1979, so it's almost as young as I am. And I consider the university to be a medium-sized university. We have more than 30,000 students, more than 2,000 people working on research and teaching. That's what we call PDI, and more than 1,000 of people that, like me, work on management or administration or technical support. We are not a polytechnic, so we have a variety of fields and degrees. We have degrees in art and humanities, science, health sciences, social, engineer. In the end, more than 30 official degrees. And we also have some combined study programs, like, for example, we have business administration with law, or we also have another degree that combines business administration with computing science. And we also have high performance groups in biology, law, and computer engineers, among others. These groups are small groups of 25 students. The students have to apply to be part of these groups. So in the end, what you have is like a very small group. It's like teaching in a small school with the best students, because you know you in order to enroll this program, you have your average grade has to be among some limit, if you want. So as I said before, I started to work at the University of Alicante in the field of spin-off in 2007. So it's been a while since there. What I would like to do now is to know a little bit about the audience. So I have this, I don't know if you know this tool, the Menti, but you should go to that web, www.menti.com, and you're going to be asked for a code. You have to type in the code 99019897, and you're going to see a question, and you can use your mobile if you want, and it would be great if you could submit your answers so we can, all of us can see who else is in the audience, okay? So I'm going to share that part. So somebody answer. So now we have one from others. What's your role at your institution? We do have more than 5 people, right? Yeah, we do. Are you having problems using menti.com, or do we just have 7 people? Rasa, do we have just 7 people connected?
Wait a minute. Not 7, more. Together with 15.
15. Come on, don't be shy.
So half of us just represent our role. So the percent is not so bad. 50% of
50%, yeah. Well, I guess most of you are researchers. For those of you that have answered others, do you want to talk and tell me what role you play at your institution, if you want to share with us?
Loren, one it's me.
Okay, one is you.
Okay, so you already know.
4 researchers, 2 colleagues from Technology Transfer Office, and 2 others. So I get most of you are researchers. I think that's the point. So let's see. Okay. So now I would like you to answer this question. Why are you attending this webinar? Maybe the researchers, if you are a researcher, you have an idea to launch a company, I don't know, or I guess my colleagues from the TTO is to share experiences. You don't even know why you are here. Nobody's answering. So nobody wants to share. Okay, to get knowledge on a field I'm not familiar with, but I should or want to. Okay, to know more about the topic. Remember, you can use your phone. Just type www.menti.com and use the code 99019897. if any of you have an idea to launch a company, it would be great to know about it. Okay, I can leave it there and we can go back to this slide to see if somebody else has shared why he or she is attending. To know more about this topic, especially because I'm from the educational science. Yeah. So, we started in 2007. We didn't have any company yet. We didn't have any regulation. So the university set up this unit with two main goals. On the one hand, to foster entrepreneurship through spin-offs, and on the other hand, to define the science part. So since we didn't have any idea of how many people, how many researchers were willing to set up a company, because we were new also in this field, the first thing to do, and it's something I always recommend, is we had interviews with researchers. We selected a pool of researchers, a sample of researchers from different areas. We elaborated this document with many questions about technology transfer in general, and then it was like a top-down approach. And then we ended asking about if they were willing to set up a company to transfer their research to society or to the market. And what we found out, or what it came out from these interviews, was that researchers needed some clear policies and some clear rules. And they also wanted to know real cases from other researchers, because it was like, ooh, that's dangerous. Setting up a company, that's not easy. And I have too many things to do. I don't feel I have the support within the university to launch a company. So we were working on the internal regulation that came out in 2008. We still have the same regulation, and this is why, because what we wrote was a very open regulation, because the national framework by then was not well defined. It is not well defined right now. And basically what we did was establish what was a spin-off, who could set up a company, and how he or she could do it. And in 2010, the first two companies were set up. So basically, what we consider to be a spin-off company is a company based on university research. This company is going to be set up by researchers, but also by the university, because we take equity shares of the new company. And you could always have some other people in your company, but you need researchers and the university. And we also define how to do it. We need a license in order for the university to allow the new company to use their technology. We also need a shareholders agreement to establish the role that is played by the researchers and by the university, and especially to define the way we as a university could leave the company. And then we define the university approval in order for your company to be recognized as a spin-off of the University of Alicante. Any question up here? No? Okay. So the first two companies, as I said, were launched in 2010. And since then, we have set up 21 spin-offs, which is like 2 companies per year, which is a good number here in Spain for a university like our university, middle size, with a little bit of everything. I think it's always, or it seems to me to be easier to launch companies when you are a polytechnic, for example. We had some lost during these years. So 17 out of the 21 are still alive. It is a good number, but not all of them are doing great. Some of them just survive for different reasons that I will try to explain later on. So we have a little bit of everything. We work on biology and chemistry. We also have something on ICT, sports, business intelligence, and things like that, but mainly biotech and chemistry technologies. I would say that's the two important lines here. So I wanted to make some discussion groups. So I hope you are there, apart from being connected. And I would like you to discuss about the three main aspects you consider to be important to launch a knowledge-based company. We don't have wrong answers here. It's just to share, to work in groups, so we can discuss what you consider to be more important. And when we come back from the discussion groups, I will give you my opinion based on my own experience. It could be different from yours, but I just want to share this information. So I'm gonna try to make the groups. Room number 3 was very, very fast, and they wrote down teen, novelty, I guess novelty of the technology, and money. Could anyone from room number 1 explain a little bit about it? And I guess if you say 1, 2, 3 is because you believe teen is more important than novelty and novelty more important than money. Could you just share with us a little bit?
Yeah, I can share. Yes, I always using team as a first choice, because it's if there's no team, there's no technology, there's no company, there's nothing actually, because everything is created about people, around people actually. Mm-hmm. So if there's no team, so there's nothing. So team is always number 1. Then there's innovation and technology itself. If you have a good point, if you're changing someone's life, if you're changing, someone's life in the world, in the region, or etc. So then you are good to go. And about financing, we kind of have quite a big discussion comparing the first two. We wrote financing, but actually when you have a good idea, when you have a team and you have right timing, and so financing usually is not a problem. It's quite natural way that money finds the ideas, because there's always the money. You just need to know where to take it. So maybe I personally, this third one with the fundings and the money, I would change the type to right timing. That you need to be right on time with your technology, with your idea, when you have to enter smart. So that's the main idea that we were discussing.
Okay. Okay, great. And what about room 2, the yellow one? So you say technology or product, team, networking, and money. Could you explain, or do you want to share with us a little bit about it?
I prefer my colleague to do it because she's the researcher. So
okay, okay, I'm switching on.
Key role.
Yes.
Yeah.
So actually, I was starting from product as the most important part, but we were talking for a moment, and the product, of course, it's important, but more important is the research and the technology, because you can adjust the product or work on the product still while opening the company or let's say some kind of group, yes. And for working within this company, it's important to do have a team of, or not only researchers, but also people who will support your work, like even from a point of view of, let's say, administration. And it's good to have the support from transfer and technology, let's say, office. I'm talking from the point of view of working at the university, because we not necessarily have time to find the company, to think about the legal issues related to opening the business and so on. And of course, the funding is also important. So from the point of view of researchers, we have a way to apply for money from some kind of, let's say, grants or so, or different parts, but the transfer office also can somehow support us, for example, from the point of view of knowing the companies who would like to give some funds to us, yes, or this is, I think, like shortly what we were talking about.
Okay, thank you very much for having the camera on. It's great. It's great. So you said really nice things, because the blue team said something I really liked. They say team, if you don't have a team, is everything. I mean, if you don't have the team, you don't have anything. And then they talk about, I don't know what exactly you said, but something like solving people's life, right? You said something like that.
Yeah,
And
I said that
yeah,
to change something.
To change people's
you know,
lives somehow.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And then the other group
Make
said,
it better.
yeah, to make
because
it better.
Just changing, it's not always a good.
And then the other team introduced the word product, which is great. I mean, when I say it's great, it's because we kind of share the same opinion here. And you also say something, team, and you were talking about the support within the university, because researchers are not, you don't know how to deal with legal stuff and things like that. And you two agree on the team. Number one for one group, number two, I think, for the other group. So do you want to know my opinion? So for me, and it's based on our experience here, the three main issues would be the team. Then we have to talk about the market, and that means we have to talk about the product, and we have to talk about the technology, novelty. One of you said, the other one said technology itself. So this would be the three main points for me. What can we say about the team? Well, the team usually suffers from a lack of experience in business, for example, a lack of knowledge about markets. And it happens that sometimes researchers come to my office, they could be talking about technology for an hour, and they say things like, we don't have competitors at all. They haven't talked in an hour about a potential client or how the product is going to be. So I agree with you. I don't remember your name, the one with the camera on. I agree with you when you said, first of all, I thought about the product. I think it's the product, because if something you researchers do very well is the research and the development of the technology. So we have to be, we at the university, we have to believe you did your job and you have a great technology. Of course, you have to do some market research and etc. But what you really need is a product. You really need to solve a problem, a people's problem, changing people's life, like your colleagues said before. So Researchers are experts in technology, as I said, but they don't talk business. They focus too much on technology. And from the TTO, what we have to do, or my efforts, are in trying to make them understand they have to start thinking in other terms. The technology is not the product itself. You have to think about a potential product, a potential customer, and what's your unique selling proposition. So there is this sentence or these 3 questions I usually use after this 1 hour talking with the researchers, and it's a method and a book by Wendy Kennedy. And so I go something like, so what, who cares, why me or why you? And what I'm asking them is, what is it your product? What's your product is? What are you going to sell? And why is it important to, to a significant number of people or companies willing to buy the product? And why are they going to buy to you and not to some other guy from, next door? So it's really hard for me in this case to make them understand that this is not about technology. Of course, technology is a must-have, technology or knowledge, research, because we are not only talking about ICT or chemical engineering and things like that. We are talking about knowledge in general. So this is important, it's a must-have, but then in order to launch a company, you have to start thinking in business. And you have to start thinking about a product and a potential customer and changing, I love that, changing people's lives somehow, okay? Should you have any question or doubt or comment, just let me know. Some consideration about researchers and the team. Here at the university or in Spain, they can play different roles because they could be the inventors of the technology or the research or of the knowledge. They could also be the founders of the company, and they could be working at the company and at the university at the same time. So we have to be very careful, and we have to be ready to handle some conflict of interest, because they are working both sides, and somehow sometimes they get confused. So it's our role to make things go smooth and clear. Another thing that I have seen so far is that these companies are small at the beginning and they are really close to the research group. But as time passes by, the research group and the company might have different interests. That's why I say love might not last forever, because they are really, really close at the beginning. They need each other really so much, but then they are going to have, hopefully, and I think this is the way it should be, they are going to have different paths. And you also have to take into account the use of university resources. If you are going to allow these companies to use your labs, your equipment, or if you are going to have people from the company working on your labs, I think this depends on the national and internal regulations. But in the end, what you really need is clear policies so the researchers know what to do, what can they do, what they are expected, and we all try to avoid future problems. Another question which is important, and you said it before, you were talking about the team, but I ask you, who should be part of the team? Because in our experience, especially during the first years, researchers came with a bunch of people behind them. Like if they were in a department with 20 more people, they invited all of them to be part of the company. This is a mistake because it's really hard to handle a company with so many people from the very beginning. Anytime the whole company has to come out with a decision, it's going to be really hard if you have a lot of small founders there. So you have to ask yourself, who are the people who add value to my project. It could be because they are researchers with me. It could be because they have a deep knowledge of the market or the industry, or maybe regulation is important in my project, so I could join a person with this background. Ask yourself who is really adding value to your project. And then another hard question is who should manage the company then? For me, it's not usually a good thing to make the researcher to combine his life as researcher and then I'm the CEO of the new company. So try to look for people you trust with a background in business. That would be my best option. Of course, it depends on any project and the team behind the project. The things we can do to improve our team. Well, we could be thinking about incorporating mentors. Mentors are people with a lot of experience, usually in business or with industry backgrounds. They can help the team for free. At least that's what we are trying to do here. And you could also use the interim manager, which is a professional that is going to work for a short period of time in the company or to solve a particular issue. Imagine you have to go international and you need somebody with a deep understanding of the international arena. So you can hire an interim manager, but also you could be doing this by offering he or she some shares of your company. So you don't really have to pay them with a salary, but you could use a piece of your pie to pay back to the interim manager. And of course, you can always use some vesting, so you don't have to pay if he doesn't get some specific results. What we have done so far here at the university is the program University of Alicante Mentoring. We were looking for people who could help our entrepreneurs and our young companies on fields like strategy, marketing, and finance. We work at the beginning with the older university. I don't know how to say, maybe Noelia has the right word for that. The older university is a university for people who is already retired. So we find that we had a lot of expertise there. But
for seniors, no, Loren?
For seniors, yeah, university
seniors.
For seniors. And we also use, we have a science park here at the university. So we get some mentors from companies from this science park, or you could also use companies you have relations with, former entrepreneurs, sometimes depending on the development of the project, you yourself as a TTO manager or staff, you could be the mentor, and then some former students, etc. What the team gets is this mentor, this senior, help them to develop the idea. They get more knowledge. They get a network, which is quite important. They usually get new investors, and for the mentors, it's a way to know new projects, to be involved, to be part of the community. So it's we work on the engagement with these mentors too, and I think it's working quite well at the moment. We are not paying them. So it depends on, on the availability of the people, really. I would like to have another discuss group, and my question for this time would be discuss the main pitfalls about the market and the technology. What ideas do you have to overcome them? I think people from the TTO they have experience dealing with researchers that want to set up companies and that think they can do it everything by themselves. The blue team, could you explain a little bit what you were trying to or do you want to share with us with a small explanation what you wrote? These three things: not knowing customer needs, overconfidence, which is quite similar to I can do everything myself.
Not exactly. So I can do everything myself. Basically, it means that I don't need a salesman. I don't need a marketing specialist or etc. It's a young company, so I can do it myself, and it would be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's nine times of the 10, it's not okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like quite opposite of not having having great team and not having a team. Overconfidence is basically there's a lot of people that so believe in their innovation, their technology, that can see what's happening around them. They entering the market like lions. I saw this meme one time, and there's this startup that entering the market, and it feels like a lion, and it goes a couple steps, and the real market, and just eat it. So overconfidence is not measuring everything that's happening around. So you just so believe your technology, and you not making any surveys. It's a little bit related to the third one, that you don't know customer needs. So you have the product, but sometimes not that useful to customer. So you need to find your market. You need to find your customer who will be interested to buy it, to pay money for your innovation, for your product. So if you don't have people willing to pay for your innovation, so that's not gonna end well.
And you have to find,
yeah.
And you have to find a lot of people. I mean, you need people, but you need an amount of people willing to buy your innovation and willing to pay for that in order to make a business successful.
Yeah.
So I agree with you.
You need to create that, value for money, so that people agrees to pay. So you have to create that much value. How much you're asking to pay for it. So it's quite one of the main things to sell. Actually, it's just basic.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking later about things or some programs we have in order to make them understand what you just saying. And I would love to hear if you have similar programs, or how do you approach this lack of, or this overconfidence, and this not trying to do some research about market and so on.
Yeah.
The other...
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
I wasn't able actually to ask questions in the beginning, and I was eager to ask since then. Regarding these equity shares that university takes in startups, how much is that? How many shares do you take? Is it 5%? Is it 10%? Or do you have, stakes and licensing agreement? What is, the model there?
We always take 5% of spin-offs, not startups. That means if we have a student setting up a company, we don't take an equity share there. We do it with researchers. We always take the 5%, so that means we put the money. We put money in order to get the 5%. We don't do it because we feel we are investors. We mainly do it because otherwise our researchers, as civil servants, have some limitations. They couldn't have more than 10% of the company if we don't get into the company, for example.
Okay.
So that's why we do it.
So it's 5%.
5%, yeah. It's enough to say, here I am, I would like to know about this and that, but we don't really get involved in the company. We leave them,
So
to work?
it's the same in our university. We take from 5 to 10%, so not more.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the other group is saying roles not defined in advance, main researcher doesn't want to lose the lead, marketing strategy not in place. Do you want to explain or share something about it?
So maybe like shortly. So actually we started from my thought that main researcher doesn't want to lose the lead because it was his idea and he's a leader in his group, so he wants to keep it. So he needs to understand that he will not be able to lead the company. So and to put some more people not necessarily related to his research group in the company. And yes, that moment where all of the roles has to be defined and responsibilities. I think that I think, and probably we both think in our group that it's something where there can be still some problems when assigning all of the roles and who is doing what. After it's done, the marketing strategy, I think that it's more like the researchers need to have a trust to the other people that they will do it properly, and even if it doesn't look like that at the beginning, but still if it's done bad, there can be a problem with it. Yes. I mean, if the plan is not made properly, the company will not sell the products properly. But still, the trust between the people in the team should be basically.
Mm-hmm. Any of you, do you think you need a business plan at this point when launching this kind of companies? You don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
I think for sure. I think for sure.
You think so?
Yes.
You think so? Okay. Okay. Somebody else? Anybody else have a clear answer for that?
Of course you need it.
Because you need it?
I mean, if we are assuming that we have already recognized the market and so on, then probably yes. But if we are just starting, then probably not. But I don't know.
Okay. So we are talking about novelty, disruption, technologies, emerging sectors, time to market. So we really have some difficulties in order to have our technology put into market. Of course, it's different if we are talking about software or if we are talking about developing some biotech, because time to market is quite different, or even if we are launching a company on the cultural sector based on knowledge, is quite different. So, but basically, at universities, we work with novelty and emerging sectors most of the time. So this could be a difficulty in order to put the technology into the market. Things we can do to try to compensate these difficulties is we can look for funding for our proof of concept. For example, at the university, you can develop a technology. Let's think about, I don't know, biotech. Up to a point. If you need to scale up the technology to an industrial scale, you cannot do it within the university. So you are going to need money to do that. And you can take advantage of some calls. You have national calls, for example, in order to do so. You could also look for partners that could develop the company with you, or try to get investors into your project. Talking about investors, if you are in a very early stage, probably it's not the best thing to do, because they usually are quite aggressive and you don't really have anything. But always depends on what you have, what you need, and how you're gonna and what chances you have to get the money to do what you want to do. We'll talk about it later on. Regarding the market, I think you, the one that have been sharing with the rest of the participants, you were talking about market a lot, about product, about some strategy, about that overconfidence where you think everybody's going to buy whatever you are doing with your technology. So we came to the same conclusion some years ago, and that's why we decided to implement some market validation programs or some pre-acceleration programs, if you want. We call it Lincete, and then we have like 2 different but quite similar programs right now. The first one is our program. This is going to be the 3rd edition, and this one is a national program. We are involved this year and is going quite successful. What do we do? Both of them are programs that aim to, they are intensive programs for market and business model validation. So the thing here is, when a researcher comes or a student comes with an idea, basically what they have is like a bunch of guesses or hypotheses they have to test, and they have to test them in the real world. What we give them is like a standard method, is the Lean Launchpad methodology. It would be great if some of you knows this methodology or has worked with it. You could share your experience with the rest of the people. But basically, it's kind of an interaction methodology that comes from Stanford University by Steve Blank. And the main goal is to minimize market risk. Because as we said before, and I think we all agree, researchers tend to focus too much on the technology, but they don't care about market or products. They think sometimes that the technology is the product itself. So even though people from the TTOs try to make them understand this is not the way, we were not being successful at that point. So we did some research and we came up with this methodology and we implemented the program here at the university. So we take a maximum number of projects, 8. We have 9 workshops plus a demo day. And these workshops, they are not master classes, but what they do is we have like a small, we work with the business model canvas. I don't know if you know this tool, but you have 9 different blocks to define your model, business model. What is it that you are offering, why it's so good, and what kind of value are you giving to the customer? Who are your potential customers? How are you going to deliver your solution to the customers, your key resources, key activities, and so it's a canvas, so you have like a small or short sentences. You can use Post-it and a blackboard, and those are your hypotheses about your business model. I don't know. You think you have these nanotubes that they are great because they could be used in this industry and this one and this one and this one. People are going to buy it because of this, that, and I don't know, a bunch of guesses, not even hypotheses, but guesses. So we explain each of these block in each of these workshops, but the thing is every project have to explain during each workshop how the project has evolved. So all the classes start with a presentation by participants, and then they get feedback for the lead instructor. What we did was to pay a consultancy firm to run the program. And they have a workload of 20 hours between every 2 2 weeks. We also use mentors, and then they have a demo day in front of mentors, investors, or people from other companies. And it's working quite well. We focus on this part of the development of the project. So we work on the problem solution fit and the problem market fit. That's what we work on these programs. And yeah, is always about testing your hypothesis outside the building, which is a sentence the Steve Blank uses a lot. The first edition, we have 7 projects. 3 companies came out of the program. And the second edition, we had 5 projects and 2 companies came out of the project, which I think is good because even though the rest of the projects didn't ended up with a company, that means they have been finding out insights about their business model, and they probably realize it wasn't so successful. So they have to make interviews with providers, with customers, with people that have something to say about the business. And then they come to the workshop with their insights, they share what they have found out, and they make decisions. And probably they pivot their business model at some point. I had a video here, but the only way, just to summarize how it works, also mention funding at some point, right? Here is a picture of how funding works depending on the stage of development of the project. You are probably familiar with them, but the thing is you have different sources of money depending on the development of your idea. Like, for example, early or very early stage, when you have an idea, you don't really have an MVP. You just have the idea and you have to trust on your 3 Fs, no? Family, friends, and fools to give you money. You could also get money from competitions and contests. We have a business competition here at the university, and it's really useful for us to detect potential projects. It's not like they present a very robust project there, but it helps us to identify potential projects and then to try to enroll these projects in these different programs we have in order to develop the idea. You can also use incubation, acceleration programs. You can rely on crowdfunding, business angels, venture capital. It always depends on where you are, what you need, how much money you need, and what you are comfortable with in terms of how many shares I'm going to give away. But you have to be aware of that you don't have anything if you just have an idea. So at that point, it's a good option to talk to a lot of people, even though you think your idea could be stolen. It's not that easy. It shouldn't be that easy if you have an innovation anyway. So yeah, you can see you have pre-seed, seed, early stages, growth, and IPO. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if I will make it. Let's see, with our companies, I mean. Something else about a spin-off. I believe is the most effective way of knowledge transfer, and I say so because researchers are highly involved, setting up the companies, taking shares, they can even work there. There are strong links with the research group, and this is necessary, especially at the beginning of the company, because they don't have money. They probably just have lab technology, and they need to collaborate with other research groups in order to try to cover the gap between the lab and the real world. Also, we have found that the spin-off will hire students from our own university, which is really nice, or they will have joint PhD programs. And in the end, we are creating like a network innovation environment surrounding the university, which I think is great. Each university should find the right definition for spin-off. Some universities require researchers become owners of the companies, which is our case, but in some other cases could be different. That is commonly accepted that the academia spin-off or spin-outs are companies set up to exploit university research. And licensing is always a must-have, at least down here. But in the end, you have science put directly into market, which I think from the point of view of the TTO is very nice, but it's also nicer from the point of view of the researchers themselves. So how are these spin-offs? They work on cutting-edge technologies. That means that market might not be ready yet, or maybe they are arriving to the market too soon. You need money or at least time to get the technology ready, because it's not, talking about TRL levels. Maybe we are working with number 4 or 5, 3, and you have to get to number 9. So there's a long path there. They're small at the beginning, but knowledge-intensive companies with high qualified workers. They have at least a lower mortality rate, I believe. As we said before, and we all agree, a well-balanced team is key, especially during the first days. You need a key because most of the investors, when you are in early stages of your project, they invest in people. They don't invest in the technology or the company, because you don't really have a company. You have a project of a company. That's what a startup is. So they need a well-balanced team capable of launching this business model or pivoting and finding another way around. But for the researchers that are here today, launching a company, a spin-off, is extremely time and all kind of resource consuming. So you have to be very convinced that you really want to launch a company. Some ideas about your institution and the way you should rule a spin-off supporting program. You have to ask yourself why your institution is supporting this kind of entrepreneurship. If they want, it's kind of a trending topic right now, this entrepreneurial issue. So are we trying to launch companies because everybody else does it, or we really want to do it because we feel is one of our commitment as a university? And what kind of projects do we want? Or are we able to support all kind of projects? Do we need to incorporate somebody else to the game? We need to think about our strengths and strengths points, and we have to define a strategy, follow the strategy, follow some steps during some time, and then go back, evaluate what you get, and if you need different programs or different approach, get ready to change your mind. And regarding the project, for me, as I said before, I think most of us agree the team is key. But also, even though you might have some innovative research or innovative technology, what you really need is a product, and what you really need is are people willing to buy your product. So you have to change your mind or change your approach, and for that, I encourage you to use pre-acceleration or market validation programs in order to help entrepreneurs to validate their hypotheses. I have another study case, but I think it would be maybe more interesting to have a small section of question answering. So if you want to share or you have any question or any doubt, now it's the time for us to discuss whatever you want. Yeah.
Okay, I would have one question. You said that there was something like 20 companies that were created, yes, at your university. Are they still connected with the university, or they like separated completely and just working on what they work on? Like, do still, let's say, the employees of the university are working on the companies, or did it change somehow? I'm just wondering.
Most of them are linked to the university. Most of them are placed in our science park. Mm-hmm. Because within the university, we work with entrepreneurs until the company is set up. And once the company is set up, they go through the science park. It's not compulsory, but most of them go to the science park, and then our colleagues there help them to develop and to grow. We set up 21 companies. I think 3 or 4 have died. For the rest, there are 3 or 4 that have been bought by bigger companies, but still they value being close to the university because they can keep on doing research with the research group at the university, and they also value the fact they can hire students from the university. So most of them are linked to the university. They also hire researchers to do jobs or works with them. So yeah, most of them are linked.
And how big those companies are in the meaning of the employees? Like, is it like 5 or 20?
No,
like,
they are small companies. Most of them are the small companies. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe that's why they keep close to us.
It's easier to work when the group is small, or I think, I don't know. Okay. Thank you.
I have one. Hi again. So you mentioned that it's 8 or 9 companies that are participating in this program, Lean program at your university. So how many from these 8 or 9 end up in creating startup or spin-off?
Yeah, I think I have it on the presentation.
Oh, maybe I missed that. So.
Don't worry. Here. Okay, so the first edition, we had 7 projects into the program and 3 companies were set up. And the second edition, we had 5 projects and 2 companies were set up. And for me, all of them, well, I think some of the project, one project quit here during the first edition, but I mean, 50% ended up in a company for me is a great number. The rest of them, they just realized they didn't have such a great business idea as they thought, which is also great because we have saved them time and money in the end. So yeah.
It's better to find out in this stage, not after creating the spin-off.
Yeah. And you can also use the methodology with young companies or even companies that want to launch a new product, for example, in order to find out if there is a market for that product.
Yeah, okay.
I just have another question. Does it have to be a product, or it can be some kind of service, like doing research for someone, or like in the laboratory?
Yeah, I'm talking about products, but I mean products and services, wherever a client could buy in the end. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because sometimes it's like a very specialized service. Like, for example, I have an example. We have a project that came through the first edition, Fitch Technologies. They work with plastics. What they do is to separate different layers of plastic so you can use all of them. They have a process to do that. So the first business model, they came out with the idea of selling the plastics. So they have to build up the industrial facility in order to implement the whole process and do it themselves. Through the program, they were changing and they realized that was too expensive for them. So what they have is like a small pilot plant where they can, it's like a showroom where they can show the clients how the technology works. And what they do is they go to industries where they generate these plastic waste they cannot use again, and they can advise them or support them in order to implement their technology, the startup technology, into the company facilities. So that wouldn't be the product, it would be a service. But the idea, the first idea was do everything by themselves. You can also find me in LinkedIn, Loren Moreno Monteagudo. I didn't write down that. And it's been my pleasure to be here today. And if you need something I could help, just don't hesitate and, you know, send me an email or try to contact me through LinkedIn, and I will try to help you.
First of all, I would like to thank Loren for this webinar in the specific topic. And as I noticed that there are some colleagues who are very close with this specific topic, that's why you got so much questions. So that's shows us that these topics are also important in other universities. So thank you very much, Loren, for your time. Also, thank you everyone who joined this webinar for today. And I think that Loren just shared her contacts, and I suppose that if you have any questions related to with the Loren expertise, you can write to her. And also, if you have any questions related with this webinar, you also can write to Žydrūnė. I suppose you got the email directly from her. And so have a great day, and maybe we will see you in the next webinars too.
Thank you all for coming today. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Loren.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.